Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championship.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the end of day 14. We have returned from our little Christmas break. I hope you have all had a wonderful Christmas Boxing Day, and now you are back, tuned in to the darts. Day 14 of the 2026 Paddy Power World Darts Championship has come to an end. Dan Simpson joining you from up here in Teesside. I am joined as ever with the three musketeers are back. Cam McFarlane from across the Pennines, and the Welsh correspondent is in. Carwyn Evans, happy as Larry. Things are on the up for the Welsh. Gentlemen, did you have a lovely Christmas, first of all?
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Yeah, really, really nice. First Christmas as Mr. and Mrs. We had a lovely little do. We had it together on Christmas Day, round with the family yesterday, and then today we are back with the darts, back where we want it to be, and yeah, just buzzing to be back. Little hiatus, little rest, and here we go again.
Carwyn, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, it's lovely sort of seeing the nieces and nephews back west over Christmas. And what I love about this sort of period now between Christmas and New Year is you feel like there's a lull coming, but the dart is back, so everything's hunky-dory again. And obviously there's still Welsh interest, so there's 3 million of us excited for the dart. So yeah, no, it's good to be back. How was your Christmas, Dan?
Oh, do you know, it was absolutely superb. Like, it was really, really good. It has been a lot going on in our house lately, and it was very, very nice to have like something. I'm not going to say it was normal, but there was normality attached to it, and we did a lot of normal things that we're used to doing, and that was really nice. Kids had an absolutely belting Christmas. I've had a chance to chuck with some of these Star Wars target darts, which are very cool. The fact, unfortunately, I had all of the hopes I had of us doing a little unboxing video or something were blown apart as he tore them open with excitement. But no, it's been lovely, and I'm now looking forward to, you know, like you say, that little gap between Christmas and New Year, which in that first part of the world's, for me as a grown up with kids and a mortgage, and I think the pair of you are the same, is there's just lots of afternoon sessions, and if you're employed, it's quite challenging to keep up. And I'm looking forward to a few days where I can actually just like sit and enjoy the darts, and I've been able to plan things and say to people, well, I've got a couple of hours between seconds, we could maybe do something then. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of the World Championships. But I mean, and what a day to come back as well. But a quick shout in the chat room. Chat room is absolutely bouncing already. It is very, very busy in there tonight, as we probably expected, because it's been a busy old day for darts, and some interesting things happened along the way. We'll do what we always do, folks. We will have a chat about the day of darting action before getting into some predictions for tomorrow. Phil Barrs has done a smashing job, so we're actually spoilt.
He's actually put the videos in. That's nice of him this time.
You know what? We've got loads of interviews and bits of clips and all sorts of things to get with tonight. So they must have done some work over the Christmas period to the internet in Alexandra Palace. But we've got
mainly the fact that he's not just pissed off home straight away.
That's correct. Yeah, he's not in the car dialing into this show. But don't forget, folks, as always, once we've finished on this show, we'll play you some short clips from those interviews, and they will all be available in full on the Online Darts YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe so you can get involved in the chat room, get involved all the way through, and then we'll all do some predictions together a little bit later on in the show, and you'll be able to see all those interviews as well. If you hit the little button that gives you alerts, you'll see as they become available. So it will go all the way back a long time ago today, and we'll talk about Wesley Plicier and the Polish eagle, Krzysztof Ratajski. And Cam, it all went wrong for your pal, didn't it, in the end? It looked like the job was done. And then it just fell apart. Wesley Plicier looked like he was flying through into the next round, and it didn't quite work out. What did Wesley Plicier throw this away, or was this just a demonstration of experience and not getting rattled and getting on with the job, Cam? Or a bit of both?
I think a bit of both. I think, like you say, it did look like Big Wes had it wrapped up, and that is sort of the beauty and the curse of set play, depending on which side of it you end up on in the terms of the outcome, is that he was so close to having it done on numerous occasions, and then all of a sudden was 1,503 points away again on multiple occasions as well. And yeah, there was just that special moment, really, wasn't there, from Ratajski, where set 5 and sort of into set 6, his finishing was ridiculous. Like set 5, he had 3 ton pluses in a row to win the set, and then from there on in, like his standard was just excellent, and it was just a really good game all round, to be honest. Gutted for Big Wes. I thought it was one that he's probably going to be kicking himself a little bit, I think. But I think he missed he only missed 3 match darts. It's not like he missed again and again and again. The fact was, he had a couple of attempts, but from there, Ratajski just pummeled him and just put him under it after that, and he just didn't get the opportunities again after that. But yeah, really good game, really good watch, and another one chalked off on the Robbo Winter card watch.
Well, I was going to say, just before I came to you, Cowan, I thought we might just have a little look at... Yet another bullet avoided for Robbo and Cowan. And it did feel to me like there was just, if I'm honest, probably more, not so much a fear of getting over the line here. Not like Cam said, there wasn't a huge string of missed match darts and a big crisis. I just think that Ratajski, or the Ratajski that we've seen in this World Championships, it's that player that we saw a few years ago where we thought, he is really, he's at the top end of the game. He's got that year in 2021 where he just kept making TV quarterfinals, and he did so in this very tournament. But that professionalism and that edge and steadiness just looked to be back, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was a funny game, really, because even at 3-1 down, I didn't think Ratajski was out of it. As in, I always thought if he could get another set, if he could make it 3-2, then the pressure then sort of flips over to Wesley, because he's the one then who's he knows Ratajski's chasing him, and it was just an enjoyable game. And I got a feel for Big Wes, because I thought the way he played throughout the game, really, he was a great competitor. But Ratajski just had something about him today, and sort of a Ratajski of old. And I think somebody's put in one of the comments that his sort of reaction was more than usual, and I think that was just relief, but also probably trying to G himself up, because he knew at 3-1 down, he had to throw the kitchen sink at Wesley just to get back into the game, let alone win it. But as the game went on, and that 1-5-2, and there's a few other ton pluses in the mix, as in he just seemed to grow with confidence. And as he grew in confidence, you could sort of see Wesley's demeanor thinking, oh, this is going to get hard, this is going to get tricky. And in the end, I do think it was experience that won him the game, really. And the Polish eagle soars again.
Well, we do have, because we've got lots of them tonight, folks. So we've got a clip from Krzysztof Ratajski from his post-match interview. So before we move on, let's see what the man himself made of it.
A little earlier I had a little health problems, with my head. I have an injury, so it was difficult time for me. But everything now is okay. Last year it was okay. So now I hope I will go up in the ranking and everything will be okay. Yeah, every time, of course. I hope the best dad is still in the future.
Did he just say, I had a little health problem with my heart? He sounds like the people I speak to at work on a day-to-day basis. Oh, just a little health problem. No, nothing major. And then you get the application to do your life insurance. And they go, I did have 4 heart attacks and 8 stents fitted. Yeah.
Yeah, it had vibes to me of, I don't know, and this might be a very niche reference, but if anybody remembers the film Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but there was little elements of the Black Knight, I think. This sort of your arms off. It's
either that or like he's gonna come back and he'll be like, "Well, I've had a couple of things replaced," and he's basically Trigger's broom at this point. Like he's still brand new.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to come on right in the next game that we talk about. We're going to come on to Krzysztof Ratajski's opponent, because I genuinely think in this little section of the bracket for now, until he meets the inevitable quarterfinalist that he's going to meet, there is still, there's still quite a lot of high hopes, and he could do a job in the next round, because it brings us on to our next game quite nicely, and for reasons that will soon become apparent. I'm going to come to you, Cam, again first for this one. But in the next round, Krzysztof Ratajski will play Luke.
I was miles away.
Sorry?
I was going to say I was miles away then. I thought you came to me. I wasn't listening.
Yeah, so in the next round, Krzysztof Ratajski will play Luke Woodhouse after a very, very comfortable 4-1 victory over Andrew Gilding. Andrew Gilding back-to-back averages of 98 and 99, who slumped today to just a 96 average, and Luke Woodhouse has just maintained that very, very high level of darts. And this was just, I think, yes, Gilding underwhelmed a bit, but this was great, I thought, from Luke Woodhouse today.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was kind of what I expected, in that I thought that Woody would win this game and win it relatively comfortably. I think I had it 4-2 when we predicted just before Christmas. But I didn't expect Gilding to drop off as far as he did. I thought we would see maybe somewhere in the 90s. But Woody, I just expecting now every time I watch him to be 95, 96, around that sort of average. Solid enough on the outer ring, and he just does enough without being spectacular, and that's not any criticism whatsoever. That is a massive compliment in the way that he's able to just get it done with the minimum of fuss and make sure that he keeps just rolling on into the next round.
Well, next door can keep hold of their bungalow for another year, Carwin, and Andrew, that is safe from the clutches of Andrew Gilding extending the garden into theirs. But I think it was just it was a combination again of both, wasn't it? Woodhouse played very well, but I didn't expect Gilding to drop off this much. He's normally so steady, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's what he'll be disappointed with, is the fact that sort of in the first part of the tournament he's averaged high 90s in dispatching, Crabtree and Dobie quite easily, and he's lost 11 points on his average. And that's what will disappoint him. As in, funny enough, when looking at this afternoon's matches, prior to them starting, this was probably the one I thought that would have been closest.
Yes.
Out of the three. As in, I sort of expected it to be nip and tuck. And even maybe Gilding, just based on how he played, scraping over the line. But credit to Woodhouse, as in, yeah, he'll be frustrated with some of his double misses, and I don't think the double stats made great reading in the first part of the match. But once he's settled, he he found a rhythm, he found a bit of consistency, and he made it look quite easy in the end. And it'd be interesting to see now when he does face Ratajski, he'll obviously be the fresher of the two, but will Ratajski, having come through a slog like he did against Wesley, sort of prepare him better maybe for a closer battle? I don't know, but a big time for both players, I think, that one.
Well, once again, we're in with the clips, and we've got a Luke Woodhouse clip. So, again, before we move on, we'll hear what Luke made of things, and we'll have a listen to that.
I think I'll stay on stage. It's nice to be the first Luke to do something, but yeah, it's good. I'm so happy. After the first two, like I say, after the first two sets, it felt like a bit of an uphill battle, but I give myself a bit of a talking to, and I've come out and started performing like I can. Yeah, it's a lovely feeling. Yeah, I mean, look, if somebody would give me that 4 or 5 years ago, I was just sort of happy to keep your tour card. Then it's top 40, top 32. But yeah, look, I think I'm proving to people and to myself as well that I am really capable of doing really good things. The next step for me is top 16. So we'll see what goes from there.
I just want to pick up on the last bit of that, because I know I've got a view on it, and I think you two probably do as well, is when he says there the next step for me is the top 16, that doesn't sound like a lot of the sort of fantasy bollocks that a lot of players say in their post-match interviews of I'm going to do this and I'm going to win it and I'm going to win the next 3 majors. Like, I just think, yeah, he probably is.
Is he the last of the old school almost? Like, that even though he's a young lad and he's still doing it sort of properly is probably the right way of putting it. That, like, you build up, you keep your tour card, you get top 64, top 40, top 32, top 16, top 8, and then you go on and win things. Like the way that people used to do it before they just started rocking up at 18 years old and just smashing people off the board.
Well, I think, and I do think that we've been spoilt in recent, with Luke Littler has messed up everything that everybody thinks about people coming to the game of darts. Like it has, because there are newer people to darts that think what happens is you somehow get a tour card and then a few months later you're playing the match play and then all this and that isn't how that's not how it's supposed to work.
You get a tour card by reaching the world final.
Yeah, exactly. You're not supposed to. That's not how it's supposed to. And then I think it's been further blurred by players like Sjan van Veen, who again have come from absolutely nowhere and only won one big title, but all of a sudden he's number 7 in the world because he's so consistent doing. And I think you're right. When Woodhouse has just gone through, and we are just starting to see now a player that Luke Woodhouse has been on tour for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he used to, the early parts of those, when you look back, it's quite interesting in that record, is he used to very occasionally he'd make a board final. And then it would be occasionally he makes a quarter final. Yeah. And now occasionally he makes a semi-final. Now occasionally he makes a final. And we're now at the point where we're looking for him to win something, whether that is a Pro Tour event, whether that is a Euro Tour. But Cowan, it's there, isn't it? That win, it's when, not if. He's going to win something, even if it's just a Pro Tour event this year.
Oh, definitely. I think his game, what he's probably lacked is that consistency over a tournament. And I know he'll face bigger challenges from here on in the Worlds, but he's doing everything right in the way he's played this tournament so far. He's not getting involved in anything scrappy. He's not being dragged down. Yes, he's lost sets. He's looked a bit at times, but on the whole, I think he's been quite consistent. And somebody compared him to James Wade in the chat, and he's got that sort of game in him, I guess, where he can do a 15 darter by going turn, 101 checkout. As in, there's that level of
Holy Grail.
Oh, what? Sorry.
Holy Grail, the greatest leg in darts.
Exactly.
Leg.
So, yeah, exactly. So I think that's where his game is at now. And what I like as well is he's sort of done everything right on tour at his pace. He's not sort of gone heavy in the first 2 years and then slowly drifted down the rankings. After 10 years on tour, he's still climbing, and that is a sign of a player with longevity in darts, I think. And he's around for a while, so I definitely think top 16 probably by the end of next year, even easily.
Yeah,
he's a boxer from the old times, isn't he? He's done his Central Area title.
Oh yeah, he's done the British, the
title, his Commonwealth title. He's done the European, and now he's stepping up. He's fighting for intercontinental belts. He'll get an eliminator soon, and then we expect him to win a big pot.
That absolutely 100%. But no, exciting things to come for Luke Woodhouse. Quick shout out in the chat room as well, because we've got a man in there who's actually made it to this stage of this very tournament. A man who has come back to Alexandra Palace after Christmas. Danny Baggish is in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen.
Baggish, how are we, Danny?
Danny, good to see you, mate, in the chat room getting involved. It is an A-list chat room today. We are a busy old show, and there's lots of very interesting people in there. So we will come, and if you can refrain, Carwyn, from, a verse and a chorus is fine, but if we can avoid the full version of Land of Our Fathers this evening, that will be smashing. Johnny Clayton, a man who I genuinely think was disadvantaged by missing a game, having so long, coming to the World Championships, going such a long period without a game, turning up after Christmas, a bit cold, but he was pushed all the way. We've seen brilliant things from Niels Oliven this year, but he was really pushed, and he's Johnny, isn't he?
Well, and a bit of a bogey player for Johnny as well I think that's the first time he's beaten Zonneveld was this afternoon, and it was a funny. First of all, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to have a bit of a go at Johnny. Went into on stage afterwards. He said that the Premier League was the best tournament ever. I highly disagree with that.
Oh, I missed that, but I'd have been because
he was asked about being in the Premier League, and he said, "I want to be there. It's the best tournament." As in, you're talking on the Ali Pali stage, Johnny. Cool hour now. But to be fair to Johnny, he did everything right on his throw. As in, he could have saved a lot of high blood pressure, cursing and swearing and throwing things at televisions, and he turned up on the Neil Zonneveld.
Just from yourself, this is it.
Oh yeah. That was mine. As in, I even threatened to throw his darts in the river. That's how bad. He couldn't hear me telling him this, but that's how bad it got on some of the Zonneveld sets. Was I threatened to throw his darts in the river? But you know what?
He'd have missed. I was talking on them sets.
I was talking to a friend before Christmas, and we both said what we want from Johnny is a 97 plus averaged, close to 50% on his doubles, to prove that he's got that performance in him. That when he went on that run a few years ago, he was consistently in that sort of bracket of performances. We got that today, and he was pushed and he was tested. And I feel like any doubt of having missed a second round tie disappeared with that performance today, because he showed he could grind it out, he could dig a win out, and when it mattered, he pinged those finishes. As in, very happy. Yeah, go on, Johnny.
Cam, Niels Zonneveld, and we talked a moment ago about, and I'm not going to, I'm not as high on him, and I don't think we're as far down the journey yet as we are with Luke Woodhouse, but this is now a serious player. You look at his his Players' Championship record this year. 2 quarterfinals, 3 semi-finals, and a final. There are top players that haven't done that on the Pro Tour this year, and I think we've seen such a huge step in his development. He played the Youth Championship a few years ago. We saw him do a bit on the World Series stage, but this is a player that, maybe not now, maybe not 2026, but if he can build on the year that he's had this year, this is a player that we could see in and around the top 16 in a couple of years' time, isn't it? If he carries on the same trajectory.
Yeah, definitely. He's in a good position. A lot of his money on his tour card is this year's money as well. So that shows that development, that he's going to be up and around there. He's 42 in the world now, I think, something along those lines. And he's not going to lose a lot of money next year. And the way that he's playing, he's probably going to add more to that as well as he goes along. So I think he's a player that's in a really good position to sort of step up the rankings. And like I say, once you get into that top 32, which isn't a sort of an impossible dream for him to do next year with where he is right now, then those opportunities get bigger and the chances to earn that money gets bigger. And you come to this next year and you're seeded, and he's got a huge opportunity to go and do really well. And he's a player that game is consistent now. Like he doesn't have massive peaks and troughs. He's pretty steady throughout. He's put really good numbers up against Johnny today. But Johnny finally, after I've been banging on to everyone about it, coming into the Worlds, his scoring is better than it's ever been. And finally we saw it. 11 180s today.
Yeah, he's really flowing quite nicely. And we've got a clean sweep of afternoon clips and interviews. So we've got the Johnny Clayton interview in. I'm pretty sure you can hold off on the translating for this one, Cowan. I think he's done it in English kindly enough for us all. Saved you a job. But let's hear from Johnny and see what he made of that match.
You got to look at it in two different ways. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's a long break. Would I want to have played the second game? Yeah, probably, just to keep in the tournament. But I'm not going to turn it away. Do you know what I mean? It's money on my rankings. It's not my problem, so yeah, happy days. It's back.
What was your reaction when you got the call to say that you wouldn't be playing in round 2 because of Dom's failed test?
Well, obviously there's a smile on my face, isn't it? I'm in the 3rd round, so I was shopping at the time, but I got the phone call from Jason and said that I could turn back home, so that's what I done. It's obviously money on the rankings.
We didn't see it today, and I didn't expect it. We didn't expect, hockey rust, if we'll give it that. And we don't expect that from Johnny. He's been around the block so many times before, and we're used to not seeing him for a little while and seeing him tip up and play very well. But yeah, I think he's done very, very well to come through that. It's difficult for these players when there's something coming back at them. I think there's a lot of the top players are quite used to working their way through their first couple of games at the Palace with little coming back at them. And this year, they're all in round 1. And then, even at round 2, there's a lot being thrown at some of them. And we've seen them repeatedly falter under the stress and the strain of that. And, Johnny didn't. He just kept everything quite nice and measured and nice. And it was, a really top performance from him. Right, moving into the evening session, and I thought that we did some predictions last week, and we talked about what we thought we were going to see. I thought this was going to be a great game, and I think I maybe picked this to go to extra time, sudden death, and I was quite well. In fact, no, Cam. I was very impressed again with Andreas Harrison. I expected a little bit more from Pikachu in the scoring phase. I think he just didn't do what we normally see from him scoring, but Harrison just keeps taking scalps, doesn't he?
He does. And like you say, Pikachu is usually one of them that you see a lot of 140s, and he'll usually out 140 whoever he's playing. He's not a massive sort of max hitter, but you see him constantly sort of up there in the scoring. And to be honest, he was pretty poor today, I thought. I had him winning this game. I thought it'd be tight like you did, but I thought he would be the one that would sort of get off the line. But he just seems determined to not get into the top 32 in the world. Like, just do the best he can to finish at 33 every year. He's just one of them players. He just doesn't want to be a seed, whatever happens. But yeah, I thought Harrison he looked at home up there, doesn't he? Like, he's one of them players that again, all this experience of, we say it again and again, but playing on the Super Series, winning weekly titles, Champions Weeks, all those sort of things, winning on a stage in front of people, it just helps because it's just not fair up there. Like 40% on the doubles, 96 average, 4-2 win against someone that ranked way ahead of him in the world. And like I say, at no point did he look fierce.
No.
A
The
bad up
poetry
here
car
for Darwin this time.
The poetry car win. So Andreas Harrison places himself in a position where he is one win away from earning a tour card purely on rankings, on turning up at the World Championships and winning enough matches to grab enough the ranking money that some of these lads have worked for 2 years for to tip up to the World Championships and earn enough to just take one. Now, there is some poetry, is there not? That the man who is now the chief defender against Rob Owens' tour card is Johnny Clayton, and Andreas Harrison is going to have to. But we're not going to do too many predictions on that game right now. But just to sort of say, you fear that Johnny is going to be put under it yet again. He's not going to be allowed to get through a match with his B game in this tournament, is he?
No, and again, I think it'll probably be the perfect test for Johnny, as in, obviously, I expect him to win, as in, that wasn't ever in doubt. But what you've got here is you've got one player throwing for the top 64 and one player throwing for the top 4. So there's so many underlying narratives to this game that it's going to be tasty. I just feel like what we saw from Johnny today, it'll be interesting to see how Harrison copes when he's put under a bit of pressure, because I can't see him rocking up and hitting an 87 average, and I know Ross Smith threw 93 against Harrison in the first round, but we know he can play better as well. So I just think Harrison will be put under as much pressure as Johnny is, and experience wins the day, and Rob Owen is safe.
Before we talk about sort of the pressure and things like that, let's just have a listen, because I think I've heard a bit of this Harrison interview. So we'll hear Harrison's clip first, and then see if we can pick up on a bit of that.
I'm over the moon. It's great. I couldn't imagine this. I hope so. Yeah, I've been looking to it before and see what I have to do to don't have to go to Q school, and yeah, I hope I can play good and do my stuff and give him a game, and yeah.
I love hearing people that sound less than over the moon while telling you that they're over the moon.
Yeah, I mean,
already sounding over
absolutely over the moon. Like,
well, that was so, Cowan. I'll bounce straight back to you, because are you sort of the question I was going to ask Neff? I think you're already on with it, in that we've seen Harrison play with a great deal of freedom. Like, my belief is that opening game against Ross Smith, Harrison was a complete free hit for him. Like, he's qualified for this. You don't really, shouldn't really be there, and he's right. But he's not a tour card holder. He's managed to get himself a spot. He's playing against the number 12 seed. Nobody expects him to win, and with no pressure on him at all, he's sailed through. He's then played all right, playing an international player on their debut who's averaged 88. He's then brushed aside, a far more recognised player, and a player, a bigger name in the game, but again, averaging 88. How much do you think that pressure of winning a tour card will come into play on that stage? How much is he going to think about it between now and then?
He'll probably play it off for the next day or so. Then he's up on that stage. He's 2-0 up or 2-1 up in sets. And I think then it comes into your mind, I'm only 3,000 points from a tour card, or I'm only 6 legs from it. And it's going to play a part, and he'd be lying if it doesn't. But Harrison's got nothing to lose, because as you say, he's come into this tournament with no real expectation, but he's now in a position where expectation could become reality. But at the same time, nobody would probably expect him to beat Clayton based on how Clayton's played today. Obviously, if Clayton doesn't match that performance, then it becomes maybe more of a flip of a coin, and that's when it gets interesting. And it'd be interesting to see how they both cope with similar pressure, but also very different pressure at the same time.
Yeah, it absolutely does. If he gets the job done, Cam, if he beats Johnny Clayton, and he gets backstage and he looks in the mirror and he goes, "Yes," is it? Yes, I've got a tour card, or yes, I'm in the quarterfinals of the Worlds. Which one do you think, or is it just? Do you think he's laid back enough to just go, oh, I enjoy that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot of the old get backstage and go, yes. I think he seems far too laid back for that, and I think it's not really the Scandinavian way to get 2 up or 2 down about anything. But yeah, I think it will. I think the initial reaction will be, yes, I've got a tour card, because let's be honest, we all know what an absolute lottery Q School is, and the best players don't always make it through. So getting that out of the way and not having to worry about that will be massive for him. But then he will then look at it and go, I've got James Hurel or Martin Schindler or Ryan Searle in a quarter final. Like, that's a huge chance to make a semi-final, let's be honest.
It certainly is. That draw, or that side of the draw, has become very, very interesting. And it's become very, very interesting because of game number 2 this evening. And this, are we comfortable between us marking this out as, and I know that there may be some Welsh influence here, but is this the biggest upset? The number 4 seed going out, not just going out but going out in this fashion to a player who has not been on tour for very long and is making their debut. Is this the biggest upset of the World Championships so far, as we see Stephen Bunting beaten 4-3 by hillbilly James Hurel, Carwin?
On paper, yes. The way the game was played this evening, not at all. As in, I feel like the scoreline flatters Stephen Bunting. I thought Hurel was outstanding, and I think if he had more experience and more composure and what temperament and what have you, I think he wins that 4-0. I felt like he was in control of the game, and funny enough, when it went to 3-3, I actually thought, oh, Hurel's blown it, and Stephen Bunting cruises the sunset and wins 4-3. But credit where it's due. Well, credit where it's due for both players, really. I thought some of the finishing from Bunting was outstanding. Really mattered. He took out those big finishes, but Hurel, just to sort of dig in and getting over the line. As in, I don't know what's happened to the hillbilly this tournament, but he's sort of, there's something different about his belief, or maybe his mental strength on the big stage, but he's doing something that I haven't seen from him before, and it's good to see. I think he's just another breath of fresh air, really. And obviously, being a Clayton fan, as in losing the world number 4, well, c'est la vie, as Buick once sang.
Yeah, I think that this was almost, I mean, I don't think there's too much question, Cam, between, on paper, Stephen Bunting is a much, much better dart player than James Hurel. And this can only really happen if James Hurel plays out of his skin, Stephen Bunting plays absolute crap. And I think that's exactly what happened. I thought Hurel was brilliant, and I thought Bunting was shite.
Yeah, I think Bunting, maybe not shite, but he wasn't great. Let's be honest. Like, he's nowhere near the level that we know he can set. There were some magic moments in there, but for the most part, yeah, it was pretty crap. Let's be honest. But see, Hurel just didn't allow him to get into the game, really. Like, he just bullied him a little bit there, and I've given Hurel a bit of shit in this comment, in the fact that he slows it down. He's not the most interesting person to watch. He didn't do any of that today. It didn't feel like, to me, watching it. I thought he was pretty spot on with his pace. He he's not the fastest in the world, but he wasn't slowing it down massively like he does at times. He just seemed to be in a rhythm and just playing his game. And yeah, I just think Bunting, a bit like Corwin said, he was flattered by the score. Like, he's beaten by 6 legs overall in the actual match as it was, and like, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll hear plenty on social media about the fact that, if you've mentioned it in the chat already, that he had a cold. Fucking have a Lemsip cold, mate. Like, not having it is absolute bollocks. Like, if you can't play a game of darts with a cold, then you need to go and play chess or something.
It's your job at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Get on with
it. Absolute full Roy Keane. Do your job.
Full Roy Keane from Carwin. Thank you. And you know, I thought I completely agree. I completely agree with it. And I genuinely think that I think you're right. The scoreline massively flatters. Huge difference in the averages. I think, you know, across the game, Hurel was just other than that there was a couple of box office checkouts. Now, those box office checkouts are what Stephen Bunting needed to not just stay in the game, to not have this be a complete embarrassment.
Yeah. Like he could have been 4-0 and off there. Like, if he wasn't for the big checkouts.
Yeah, 100, and that's it. If it wasn't for such a complete, like, you know, and they were amazing. The 161 was beautiful. Everything like stunning. But that was literally to not get embarrassed by a score. You know, the scoreline is so close because he managed to clutch at those things at the end. And yeah, I'm not buying it with a cold. I think, what I also don't like, and I don't know whether I'll dislike it more, is, you know, someone in an interview afterwards going, "Oh, but I did have this cold," or getting your excuses in early, you know, like, and thinking, "Oh, but I've got a cold," you know. I don't know which one of them.
I'm not having it. No, not at all.
Well, he certainly hadn't lost his voice, whatever's wrong with it, because he was certainly in, you know, he was full.
Loud, he was vocal. He's absolutely fine. Like,
well, get on with it.
Someone in the chat there, I think Brad's saying, Sky have done to Bunting what they did to Fat. I don't think they have. I think Bunting's done to Bunting what's happened. Like, he's the one pushing himself more than anyone. Yeah,
Bunting is Bunting's number one cheerleader, and he's just, I don't know whether he's run out of steam or whether he's just been outplayed. I think he's just been outplayed on that stage today. But you mentioned him a moment ago, Bunting roaring and shouting, and there is a man that had a few things to say about that, and that man was James Hurel. And his interview is in the back end. So let's have a little listen to James Hurel and what he had to make about that, the screaming and shouting and the big licks that Stephen Bunting was giving it.
Yeah, I knew where my game was coming into the game. I just need to sort my doubles out a bit, and yeah, I'm confident. I'm not going anywhere. I'll just beat number 4 in the world, so I'm not bothered. Yeah, I worked off that. He celebrated like he won the game. I worked off that.
That's interesting you say that as well, because so many darts players have said that they've only focused on the whole game. They've not really paid any attention to what the opponent is. For you, is it almost the other way round? Do you sort of try to sense something in their game when you're on the stage?
I did sense something then. There was definitely something coming out of Stephen winning a leg. I put him under pressure to win that leg, like big shots out and everything. I felt that when he gave it the big one over to his family and friends. I was quite happy with that.
Interesting, I thought that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. He just basically, what he said is, he was having to do that to stick in it and giving it the big one that he was doing it just to stick in it. And I knew I had more, and I just could basically just stick it back on him whenever I wanted to.
Yeah, it's interesting, that window. You know, we know that players give it big licks, and we know that, but sometimes there is a time and a place for it, isn't there? And you know, when you are giving it big licks for holding your throw, like you know, if your opponent is a bit like James Hurel, you know, I think James Hurel is a bit of a student of that. You know, James Hurel, whilst being fairly new-ish to the, you know, to PDC TV tournaments. You know, we've only seen 18 months or so of him in PDC tournaments, but James Hurel is not a newcomer to darts. You know, he's been around the BDO WDF scene for quite some time, and he's played all over the world in lots of tournaments, played for England in when he was doing that as well. So, he isn't new to this world. And I think he's a man who clearly spots that in somebody, and he's seen, fucking hell, he's high-fiving strangers because he's held his throw. Like, he must be cracking here. I must have him.
Yeah.
And I think
he's not a young man, is he? Like, as much as he might be new, new to the PDC circuit, but he's in his 40s now. And like you say, he's a student of the game. He's someone that's played a hell of a lot of darts. He's not going to get anything past him. You're not going to sneak anything by him, and you're only going to beat him by being the better player than him on the day. And if you're not, he knows what to do to take you out of it.
And I think that's why Price and Littler giving it large all the time. Their opponents never know when they're rattled. Bunting giving it large for winning a leg on his own throw is that giving it that much, going over to his people in the corner after winning a leg. And
I'm surprised he could do it with how ill he was, to be honest.
I thought he was looking for the tissues, maybe, or something.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I thought them extra steps might have been too many for him, to be honest. He must have just popped a little vitamin C tablet into his water at the break, maybe.
Yeah, but I think it just showed how worried he was that he had to give it large for winning a leg on his own throw. And People's Champ is gone. Not even Section 2 winner.
The self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed.
What we're going to have to do...
The Tyson Fury of darts.
Because it's been mentioned so much in the chat room, which is absolutely buzzing, by the way, tonight. Like, I think this is the busiest and maddest chat room we've had perhaps ever on the Fallout Bar. But so we're going to have to say it, right? I think my prediction is that by mid-January, Stephen Bunting is 7th in the world. And I don't say that to take the piss.
To be honest.
And I don't say this to take the piss. I look at the draw and how many games that Johnny Clayton, Jan van Veen, and Josh Rock would have to win. And I look at it and I think, well, I can't see. No, the odds are that Jan van Veen gets to a quarterfinal. It would be a massive, and I mean a massive upset if Josh Rock doesn't make a quarterfinal. And we generally expect Johnny Clayton to beat Andreas Harrison. If Stephen Bunting is 7th in the world, with all of those younger, fresher, new talents, international talents, overtaking him in the rankings, Stephen Bunting effectively out of the Premier League now.
Well, we're forgetting about the fact that
easily.
Nathan Aspinall will jump in when he makes a semi-final as well.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Nathan Aspinall, when he makes a semi-final, he'll jump him as well.
No, I fucking knew he's
I actually thought Bunting Clayton quarterfinal was a straight shootout for the Premier League. I feel like whichever one of those two is highest in the ranking by being 4th, get in automatic, and that's the only way. That's the only way either of them get in. I can't see Bunting making it now.
Well, especially I think with players like Derwin Price not going to be in the top 4. But so then they're going to sit and they look and they're going to say, well, I can't have Gezi and Bunting. I'm going to have one or the other. And I think as soon as Bunting goes into those conversations, I think it gets a bit tough. They're big, tough decisions. And I like Nels, I'm calling that out. And well, I'm not because it
won't get him in.
So he's taking the piss. But Nathan Aspinall has exactly the same problem. You should not be invited to the Premier League because you've got a good song. If the song is good enough, it should just be taken off you and given to a better player.
Like I say, he'll be above Bunting anyway, so it won't matter about the song.
Perhaps what we should do for the Premier League is to pick the 8 best walk-on songs in darts, and at the beginning of the Premier League, the 8 selected players draw lots, and they're just because they're great songs and everybody likes them, and you'll just walk out. You get what you're given. You walk out.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I think I'm all right with that. So that means we're going to have Nathan Aspinall, Josh Rock, because his is just funny, Dirk, because his is a laugh, Wesley Plicier, because his is mint. Who else are we putting in?
Johnny can just keep his own song. No point taking.
Yeah, Johnny can be in.
It'd be a bit strange if somebody else got Go Johnny Go as a walk-on song against Johnny Clayton.
Anyway, right, let's move on.
How quick can I rattle through my head to think if there's another dart player that's any good called Johnny?
Yeah, that's it.
I can't think that quick at this time, and I'm afraid. Right. Okay. Well, have we? Yeah, we have. Hang on. Yeah, let's move on. So the final game of the evening. And he just keeps going, doesn't he? I mean, did it drop off a bit at the end? No. Cam,
It dropped off to 106. Yeah,
yeah,
bit of a dip.
Dropped to 107 average. So what I think was like 75% on his doubles, and you know the commentators talked about it a lot. Littler whitewashing Mensur Suljovic 4-0, but he looked like he'd had his Weetabix today, and he looked probably more dialed in than I've ever noticed. There was no messing about. There was very little joviality. He didn't crack a smile. I don't know whether he's pissed off, as he rightly should be, about how things went at the BBC Sports Personality of the Year just before Christmas. But
yeah, well, to be honest, he did say that Lando should win it, and Lando didn't win it. So that is
quite right. He's got every right to be. He's got every right to be pissed off. But he meant business tonight, did he not, Cam?
He did. Yeah, he did. I mean, it was ridiculously impressive. Like, it's just, I think this is the thing with him. He's so young still, and he just plays like an old man that's seen everything. Like, he just at no point did whatever Mensur did. And to be fair, Mensur wasn't particularly slow tonight. I think he played at a reasonable pace, but he is a lot slower than what Luke is generally. But he just made sure that he wasn't at the hockey until he was at the point where he could throw. And he just threw at a pace, and it just suited him, if anything. Like, that extra sort of second and not rushing anything. And it's just, like, I mean, the next time we hear Joe Cullen fucking moaning, like, just play him this game on repeat for like a full day. Just stick him in a room, just tied to a chair, watching this game on repeat, and then tell him to just come back and play darts.
So, just on that, Carwin, I think the mind games were what, and again, you shouldn't be able to do this at 18. You shouldn't have the maturity, the intellect, the ability to read people and do that. I think all of the mind games were won after Luke Littler's last game, where he was told by the media, you're playing Mensur Suljovic, this is what he's done to Joe Cullen. And Littler, let's be honest, came out very much on the side of Mensur, said, it's not cheating. I don't think Joe should be moaning about it. It just is what it is. He plays his game the way he is. Like, did Luke almost win that mind? Did he solve that problem 10 days ago, 5 days, however long it was ago?
Well, what Luke did was kill any speculation of it affecting him and just sort of kill the story before it even begun. But to be fair, for 3.5 sets, Mensur Suljovic looked like your drunk uncle on Christmas Day, just having a game of darts with you on your brand new board. Then when he realised he could actually win a set, he started to slow down and he started to think about it, and you could sort of see him going back to his usual game. But to be honest, unless Suljovic was throwing with 5 darts, he wasn't winning that game, irrespective of whatever mind games he tried against Luke. Because for such a young man, he's just nothing phases him. I remember on the Fallout Bar doing the Premier League, 10 months ago, we would bang on week after week. This kid is unstoppable. Nothing phases him. He's just almost robotic in what we were saying compared to how good he was. And he's just shown it tonight, as in what could have been maybe a tricky tie on how the game could have been played. He just took the sting out of it, made it all about himself for the right reasons, and I thought was very generous in giving Suljovic 2 legs as well, as in not to make it a 4-0, 12-0 whitewash.
3 in the end, Colin. 3 in the end.
Oh, 3, sorry, not 2, 3, wasn't it? Yeah.
So Bob mentioned in the chat room there that, Littler was really at it, really trying. We saw him. He was getting angry. He was getting angry every time he wasn't hitting a 9. If he was opening with a 140, he was pissed off. And it did look at times like Mensur was enjoying it. And is there a little bit of Mensur is in, if we're honest, and it sounds a bit, he's certainly on the back end of his career, 53 years old. He's been appearing at this tournament for an awful lot of years. He's been here an awful lot of the time. The third round is, equals the furthest he's ever been in the tournament. Do you think that he was just enjoying the spectacle of playing Luke Littler on that stage, sort of going into it knowing what was going to happen, and almost played better than any of us thought he would? Granted, he didn't pick a setup or anything, but the level was okay. But again, just playing with a bit of freedom and just sort of, it felt a bit to me like he's equaled his best ever performance, and he's managed to win 35 grand. And in order to collect the 35 grand check, he's had to sort of play an exhibition with Luke Littler. And that's sort of how it felt a little bit. And do you think he approached this with a winning mindset, or do you think he just turned up?
No, I think he turned up and just thought, I think he just, I don't know, he's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? Mensur as he is. And like, I just enjoyed watching him in this game and just watching his reactions. Like when he went 4 into the 9 and then missed the next one and gave it the old, he's just fuming at himself. Like it was just good fun. And I think basically what he did was he turned up and he thought, if he's not quite at it, I'll beat him here. And unfortunately for him, Littler was bang at it, and Mensur played relatively well and didn't get near him. But I think what else can you do? Like, that's probably Mensur's sort of peak level right now, isn't it? Like, he's played pretty much as well as he can play right now at this time. We've seen absolutely the square root of fuck all from him for the last couple of years. And he's turned up there. He's won a couple of games, which probably no one really expected him to do at the start as it was. And he's rocked up to play Littler, played as well as he can. And unfortunately, it was absolutely miles off. But that's just what Littler can do to you, and there's no point really getting stressed about it.
The thing is, I mean, the math, and I'm not going to do the maths on it, but if someone's averaging 107 and they're doing 75% on their doubles, I'm not quite sure the game that you have to produce to beat them. I think you've got to be.
I'll do the maths on it. The maths is simple. If someone's doing that to you, 99 times out of 100, you're going to lose.
Yeah, you need to produce consistent 10 dart legs. That is pretty much what you've got to do. You've got to do 10 and 11 dart legs all the time.
But more importantly, you've got to win the bull.
Well, yeah.
Because then you start.
Yeah,
he did that bit.
Yeah, he did that bit, and then it went wrong. He probably told himself.
For a small portion of this game, he was winning.
Well, after three darts each, they were both on 4 for 1, so he was still in the game.
Then
he went downhill.
That's it. They were level on points, and he won the ball. Therefore, he was winning the game after that point.
He was in the lead for a visit.
Apparently, Sulovic went, if I win the bull, you can win the game.
Wow.
So Littler didn't throw for the bull.
A fine deal.
That's all anyone cares about, isn't it? Like if you win the ball, that's more important than anything else. Like that is a one-off, 1 dart. I'm better than you with 1 dart.
Still, by the way, before we move on, and we are finishing now, we're going to tomorrow. We're going to do predictions for the games tomorrow. But because we've ended up on a conversation about the ball, it fucking should be on stage. It should be done on the stage. The idea that something so important to a set play match is in the players bulling up, throwing out the bullseye to see who goes first. When going first is so important, and if it's not on stage, then what should happen is it should be filmed backstage when they do it while the other game's going on, and in that filler bit between the game and the next game, we should be shown this is the footage of the ball, and then we get, I don't know, Dan Dawson, someone with a microphone, little room hosting the bull up. Like the fact
that would mean our friends up here in the top corner at Paddy Power would need to employ better people to be able to get the odds updated in time.
We are available, Cameron, are we not?
That's true. Yeah, I am more than happy to do it. I will sit
both
backstage or on stage. I'll sit there on stage in a chair with my laptop, and I will update it immediately. The odds.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So I'm touting not just for better entertainment for the masses, but a bit of graft for you and I as well. So I'm trying to hit it on all fronts. Right. So to tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, and we have 6 more games, 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening. For those in the chat room, we are once again playing first to 4 sets. As we get through, make sure you are getting your clips or getting your predictions into. Oh, hang on
a minute. Before we get into that, give people time to subscribe and make sure they can get involved in it, because we have got hot off the press.
We haven't yet.
From the most hard-working man in darts, the famous Mr. Phil Bars, has for us the news.
Before we move on, we do have, and we will. So make sure, if you're in the chat room, make sure you are subscribed, because there's loads of you tonight, more than we've ever had.
Yeah,
so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you can get involved in predictions. And in that little intermittent break before we get to predictions for tomorrow, we will hear Luke Littler's interview, because Phil Bars has nipped in the back end and put it in. So Luke Littler up next.
Yeah, obviously it's laying down a marker, obviously 107 average, but I'd probably say 80%, 90% of the time I won't come back here and hit 107 average, because it starts. We don't always play this way. We don't always play high numbers. And sometimes it's just about getting the job done. But yeah, I think it is a statement made tonight, and obviously I'm back in a couple of days.
2 things. Not 100% average, laying down a marker, and not coming back to do this again. Of course he'll come back and hit 107 again. Stop lying to us, Luke.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think so do you know what I think's going to peck his head at the minute, right? So at this moment in time, and I know that Luke pays attention to these things, and if he doesn't, he's got people around him that do, that then tell him, and they burrow away at him. But at the minute, that 107.9 average isn't the highest average of the tournament.
It is. It's about 0.3 behind the highest one.
Yeah, and Jan van Veen is still the highest average of the tournament. Granted, played over a slightly shorter format, but he doesn't have the highest average. And
was it not over a longer format than this in terms of actually the same amount of sets played?
Perhaps the amount of, he got that. Yeah, but that was, they weren't on the table.
Same amount of legs.
Yeah, they weren't on the table though, were they? Those legs didn't have to be. Those legs could have been played today if it wasn't for Mensur.
Which table were they on?
Top table.
We're into tomorrow, folks. It's prediction time, and if it's prediction time, that means it's time for prediction wine, because it's Christmas.
You got the prediction wine. You can tell it's proper Christmas now. We're in the break.
Christmas in the Simpson house. We've got and in fact tonight, because it's Christmas and we've stocked up, we've got a half decent German Pinot Noir this evening. Lovely. None of your tat, none of the stuff that I've been cooking with, nothing that goes into the gravy. This is proper predicting wine tonight. So we start the afternoon session tomorrow with that, what I genuinely think is quite an intriguing game. I think this could be tight, but Cam, I'll come to you and get your view first. Martin Schindler takes on Ryan Searle.
I thought you were going first with your German Pinot Noir there. I thought you were straight in. This is tough, I think.
Hard game to pick, I think.
Yeah, the bookies have got it pretty close. I'm slightly surprised they got Ryan Searle as the favourite. Our friends at Fanny Power have got 11-10 on Schindler, which I think is a cheeky little price. But that being said, I just fancy that Ryan Searle has a little go at this, little run at this tournament, and he'll be looking at it thinking Hurel next is an opportunity, and then Clayton or Harrison's beatable as well. I think Ryan Searle wins this one and wins it 4-2. I don't have a lot of faith in him if it gets a bit close, but 4-2, if you can keep him at arm's length, I think he wins.
Carwin?
I actually think this might be a repeat of the first game this afternoon, where Ryan Searle storms into a 3 1 lead, but Martin Schindler comes back and wins a last set decider within normal play.
Ooh, I think this is a genuinely very, very hard game to pick. Ryan Searle hasn't beaten Martin Schindler since 2021. He won a deciding leg in a Euro Tour event, and possibly just because of
they only played each other twice since then.
All right, ruining my stats.
Don't come. Don't. Yeah, sorry. Apologies. I realised I shouldn't come at you with facts and.
Don't you start bringing facts and statistics to the table, Cameron. That's
we
not what this show is based
them,
around. We are not based around facts and statistics, and you bloody well know it.
We made a living off lies and nonsense. Like, what are we doing with
facts? Nonsense and a loose punch and a bottle of predicting wine. That's what we're doing.
I apologise. I haven't got any predicting wine today. That's why I've come at you with facts.
Like you've gone completely straight laced.
I've gone rogue.
He's not pissed up, and at the same time, he's trying to do all proper stuff.
Bottle of sparkling water.
God. Martin Schindler wins 4-3 in an epic. I think it's going to be great. I think they'll play really, really well, but I think Schindler will just have the edge. In the chat room, don't forget, folks, drop your predictions in the chat room. We'll get them on the screen. Bobsy is in first with a Searle 4-2 victory. Jack has got Searle winning 4-3. It's heavy Searle early doors. Benion's got 4-2 to Ryan Searle. Dan Valentine. Searle averages 100 and loses 4-3. Crikey, that will be some opening game tomorrow. Nice. Dan Lucas has got Schindler winning 4-3. Again, there's a lot of folks with me here. Did they wait for me? Max Holmes has gone Schindler winning 4-3. Alan has gone 4-2 Schindler. Paddy's gone 4-2 Schindler as well. Bob Schindler 4-3. Kay has gone Searle 4-3. Philip Bryant's gone Schindler winning 4-2. Andy's gone Searle winning 4-3. Nels Shindy 4-3 and Danny Schindler 4-3. I think it's a Schindler leaning split in the chat room. I think
very close, but just slightly leaning in favour of the ball.
Definitely got a bit of both, but we are Schindler leaning. Now, this next game, Carwin, I can't decide if this could be the best game we see all day, or this could be a race to the bottom and it could be utter dross. What do you think we will see when Damon Heta meets Bobby Cross?
Well, it's a rarity to start with that it's two seeded players facing each other.
It is this year,
much. And obviously, coming into the tournament, 16 and 17 in the world, the toughest game on paper. Unfortunately, in terms of standard, I fear it may be similar to the Ashes match, the Ashes test that's just finished, in that it will be absolutely
taking a resounding win for the English.
Well, yeah, it was nice to see the English boys getting a win, but just in terms of standard, I don't think it's going to be very good. I think it's two players desperate for a bit of form. Which way does it go? I think Heta blows it and loses 4-1, Cross to win 4-1 in a poor game.
Ooh.
88 average.
Cam?
Yeah, I think it's really, really close. And I think they both basically averaged 91 throughout the tournament in the two games they played. Consistently as well. Like, they've both done it in both games and sort of struggled past, well, not struggled past people, but got past people, but not in the sort of the greatest manner. I just think Rob Cross is slightly more reliable under pressure than Damon is. And I say that with not a lot of confidence, but I think just about 4-3 Bobby Cross.
Just the other way. 4-3 Damon Heta. And I almost think,
can't see it being wide either way. Like,
and I almost think sort of for the same reason. I don't think it'll particularly be a race to the bottom. I almost think like an 88 average will beat an 87 average. That's where I think the game will be at. And I also think they're essentially playing for the right to be dicked by Luke Littler in the next round. Like it's
money for that, I think.
You normally have to pay extra, I think, where I come from. But yeah, I think, I just think it's going to underwhelm. I think they look at the bracket and think they're on a hiding to nothing anyway. I think they're both out of form on TV, and I think it'll be really edgy and a bit nervy. But I think Heta will probably come through the important moments or the big moments anyway. Let's have a look in the chat room, see what we think. Jack has got Heta 4-2, but tight. Phil Bryan, Heta 4-3. Alan's got Bobby Cross winning 4-2. Dan Lucas has got Damon winning 4-3. Paddy's got Heta winning 4-2. Kay has got Heta winning 4-3. Nels has got Heta winning 4-3, as has Max. It's quite Heta heavy in the chat room. Bob's got Damon Heta winning as well. Andy has gone the other way. He's gone 4-0 Cross. Jamie Drummer's late money coming for Bobby Cross. Jamie Drummer's gone 4-2 Cross. Danny's gone 4-1 Cross as well. All the late money has come for Bobby Cross, but I think we're pretty heavy, over 2/3 in the chat room for Damon Heta. Tipping the evening or the afternoon tomorrow, headline in the afternoon session at Alexandra Palace.
It could be evening by the time that game before it's finished, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, you could be all sat having your tea watching this, as we could have potentially been sat having a McDonald's breakfast by the time we get to do the Fallout bar, depending on what happens tomorrow. But headline in the afternoon session, Gary Anderson against Jermaine Wattimena. Cam, come to you first.
I've been impressed with Jermaine. I've said this on previous shows that his level at the moment is way above what we've seen. He does it consistently now, and he's a lot better than he is. But there is not a chance you're getting me to predict anything other than a Gary Anderson win here. Like, Gary Anderson wins 4-1 and just plays mint again. All half, no head.
Unfortunately, this is the sort of game Jermaine, not unfortunately, sorry, that makes it sound like I don't like Gary Anderson. This is the sort of game Jermaine Wattimena should be winning at this point in his career. But this is the sort of game he bums out in and just throws in a massive wobble because he's playing somebody like Gary Anderson. And for that, I think Gary wins, because Gary will start slow, but will get into the game. So Gary wins 4-2, I think.
Oh, do you know? I can't make it a clean sweep, you know. And I'll tell you for why. 2 reasons, right? First, for both of you. First of all, Cam says heart overhead, and I agree. Like, if I went heart overhead, it's Gary Anderson, you know, smashing it. And then I think you both make excellent points. That Carwin again saying, at this stage of his career, these are the games that Jermaine Wattimena should be winning. And I think, well, my head says Jermaine Wattimena wins this match. My heart doesn't, but my head does. And I also think what we have seen from Jermaine Wattimena in the last few months, well, in fact, maybe 12 to 18 months since he made that final of the European Championships. And then he's had, 2 Pro Tour wins this year, lots of deep Pro Tour runs. He's done well on the Euro Tour. Jermaine Wattimena has started winning the matches he's supposed to win, and winning those matches that, when you, like, exactly as you say, he gets to this point in his career, he should be winning them. He's started to do that. And I think that trend continues. And I think it's a 4-2 Jermaine Wattimena win. Let's see where we are in the chat room with the end of the afternoon session tomorrow. Dan Valentine has got Ando winning 4-2. Jamie Drummer is a Gando fan who's worried. Jermaine 4-2. And that's pretty much exactly my mindset. Like, I'd be over the moon if Gary Anderson won, but I'm exactly where you are, Jamie. Alan is Gary Anderson winning 4-2. Bobsy's Anderson 4-1. Jack is Anderson 4-2. Paddy is 4-2. Watamina. Nels 4-3. Andor. Benny on 4-3. Andor as well. Phil Bryan, Anderson 4-2. Kay has got Anderson 4-3. Bob just Bob. Watamina 4-2. Gary misses doubles. I think this is the most predictions we've ever got for a match. Marty has gone Gary Anderson winning 4-1. Max, member Max. Don't forget, folks, you can be a member as well. It's worth it. Max has got Watamina winning 4-3. It's going to be played at a gorgeous. Oh, so Nels mentioned that this game is going to be played at a gorgeous.
Oh, it'd be a great watch.
Very, very watchable. Andy Lorraine has got Anderson winning 4-2. Danny has got Anderson winning 4-2. Yeah, I think we're definitely heavy Anderson again, aren't we? 2/3 Anderson probably in the chat room. Ish.
Yeah.
Ish, yeah.
Possibly. Into the evening session. Carwin, how many sets will Madders Rasma win against Jan van Veen?
I'm torn between 0 and 1. Because Rasma will win legs, but will he win 3 out of 5? That's the question I'm giving myself at the moment. I think he does win 1. I think he finds enough treble 19s in 1 set to conjure up 3 legs. So Van Veen comfortably winning 4-1.
Cameron?
I think he definitely wins a set. I think he might even win 2. But I don't think he gets close to winning. And I think he loses 4-2.
Where we all agree is that he definitely wins a set.
Yeah.
But I think he only wins the one. And I think he will have, I think he will score well enough to hold his throw.
I think he's played well in this tournament so far.
Yeah, and he's a good player. Like, you know, but I almost think, I do think that, again, Jan van Veen, a player like old before, you know, way too mature for his age.
Yeah.
He's been around the block. He is going to look at this, you know, the bracket with, you know, James Wade going out, Menzies going out, and he's going to look at, you know, I mean, do we count Dimitri anymore? Probably not. You know, his little section there, you know, the seeds that have fallen. And he's going to think, like, I'm on for a quarter-final with Luke Humphries. And I think that's where he thinks the real challenges are coming at him. You know, that's where he's thinking, well, that's my big game. That's where I need to get to. That's where I need to turn up. I think he dispatched him pretty comfortably. 4-1, I will give Rasma a hold of throw on a set. In the chat room, Bobsy's in early. I think we're going to be very, very heavy here, so I will rattle through it fairly quickly. Bobsy's gone Van Veen 4-0, as has Dan Lucas. Alan is on the same boat as well. Dan Valentine, slightly different. Van Veen 4-2, closer than expected. Max has restored sanity in the chat room with a Van Veen 4-0 win. Paddy has gone 4-0 as well. Philip Bryant, Van Veen 4-2. Nels has gone with us on a 4-1. Jamie Drummer has got Jan 4-2. Not a clean result. Get the job done. Yeah, maybe he's had some monster performances. Might just need a bit of a professional one to move through. Jan Van Veen 4-0 from Bob Just Bob. We'll want to emulate Littler. Benion's got it closer. 4-3 Rasma. Christ on a bike. If that is the result, I think that's potentially a bigger up. Is it a bigger upset than Bunting? Maybe. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll debate it tomorrow. Andy Wren, Jan Van Veen 4-3 last leg decider. My God. And Van Veen 4-1 from K. Second game tomorrow evening is Luke Humphries against Gabriel Clemens. What do we think about this one?
Whose goal is it?
Yeah, I can't remember who's to go first.
It's you, Cam.
It's me. All right, okay. I think it's been a good tournament for Gabe, and I think it's a successful one. It's more than anyone expected. He's not dropped a set yet, but he's been allowed chances to do that. Luke Humphries doesn't give you opportunities to do that. He won't miss a shit ton of doubles. He won't have offsets where he does nothing at all, except for when he was trying to give Paul Lim a leg. Like he just doesn't do it. So Humphries wins, and he wins 4-1.
Carwin?
I think Clemens misses multiple set darts, but loses 4-0. I think Humphries will want to put some sort of marker down, and whilst Clemens has played well, I just think Humphries will bring a level that he can't keep up with, and yeah, Luke wins easily 4-0.
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. I think Luke Humphries is one of the most dangerous players on planet darts, and he's watched too many other players play very well. While he has averaged 98 and 97, he's sort of seen Van Veen and Littler and Anderson, and then, you know, the lesser known Justin Hood and William O'Connor, and they've all turned up with these monster averages, and he hasn't done so yet. And I think he's gone home and I think about it for a few days and thought it's about time that I remind everybody who Luke Humphries is. And I think he turns up and puts himself right in the mix at the top of the tournament averages. Maybe not the top, but I think we're going to see 104, 105 and a very comfortable 4-0 win for Cool Hand tomorrow. In the chat room again, I think we're very heavy. Let's have a look who got in first. I think that was Danny, who has Humphries winning 4-2. Dan Valentine, lots of Dan's about tonight. I love that. He's got Humphries winning 4-0. Alan has got Humphries 4-1. Paddy's got Humphries 4-1 as well, as has Bobsy. Jamie Drummer has got Humphries 4-0. We've then got 4-1s from Philip, from Dan Lucas, from Kay. Bennion gets us back to a 4-0 Humphries. Nels has gone 4-1. Max has gone Cool Hand, winning 4-zip. Andy has gone Clemens 4-2. I thought we'd get a clean sweep. Let us know in the comments, Andy, if that's real. Are you okay? Do you need help at all?
There's another one further down.
Is there? God.
Bob just Bob.
So Bob's normally very sensible. Bob has gone Gabriel Clemens 4-3. Luke frustrated and starts missing. Goodness.
He has been very good in this tournament at punishing people when they miss. I just don't see Humphries missing enough.
No, I agree. I don't see him missing very much at all. This is a game that's intriguing because we've now got a qualifier who nobody ever predicted to be at this stage of the tournament. Arno Merck should not have beaten Michael Van Gerwen. Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, could be perhaps. Arno Merck should not have beat Kim Hybrich. He should not have beaten Peter Wright, but these things happened, and he has found himself in the third round of the World Championships as a qualifier against Michael Van Gerwen. Do we see another qualifier getting through to the fourth round? Carwin, what's going to happen here?
In short, no. I think he's beaten a very...
In short, he hopes not, just for Rob Owens' sake.
A very poor Peter Wright and a poor Kim Huybrecht. But I just think MVG's, whilst not the biggest averages, well, in both of them, but he's looked professional in both his wins. I think he's looked game head on, man on a mission, point to prove at these World Championships. In true MVG style, I think he concedes a set because he just does not like to whitewash people. But I think that's all Arno gets, and it's 4-1 to Mighty Mike.
Cameron?
I'm tempted for the upset. I think Arno Merck's just played a really professional game so far. He's not done more than he's needed to, but he's won comfortably. And I think for that reason, he puts Van Gerwen under a lot of pressure. Does he put him under enough pressure to nick it? No. 4-3, Michael Van Gerwen. potentially extra legs.
Christ.
I think he pushes him all the way.
Far less controversial from me. I think Michael Van Gerwen, if the best thing that could have happened to Michael Van Gerwen, I genuinely think, is watching other big name seeded players, Stephen Bunting, Gerwin Price, et al., go out. And I think it tunes him in and he thinks, yeah, I can, as I did before, everybody thinks I'm playing crap and I can just go make a final. I think he looks at the bracket and thinks, yeah, like, you know, I can do what I want really in that half. I've got one hard game, perhaps. I think that's his mindset, not particularly mine. 4-0 Michael Van Gerwen. I think he turns up tomorrow and does a job on the German. In the chat room, let's have a look. I think Andy, no, he's not. Paddy in first, I think, with MVG winning 4-2. Dan Valentine's got MVG winning 4-1. Dan Lucas has got MVG winning 4-0. Alan's got MVG 4-2. Could be clean sweep, perhaps. Or maybe not. Having a look a bit further down. Jamie Drummer has got MVG 4-0. Early finish. I think we'd be happy for that on this channel. MVG winning 4-0 from Phil Bryant as well. Bobsy winning MVG winning 4-2. Merck winning 2 card. Yeah, he's going to definitely be one to watch at Q School. Bob has got Michael Van Gerwen winning 4-1. Spoonie has got MVG winning 4-3. Max Holmes has got Merck winning 4-3. That is a shot that no one else has had. Benyon has got 4-1 MVG. Andy Lorraine has got MVG 4-0. Kay has got MVG 4-0 as well. And Nels got 4-3. We don't allow either ways, Nels. You'll get yourself banned from
no, less of
that sort of crap. Right, folks, tonight has been one of the busiest Fallout bars, perhaps the busiest Fallout bar in history. We've had loads of chat room action. The darts is back after Christmas. We will be back tomorrow, as always. Interesting day of darts. Thank you all very much in the chat room for joining us and everyone that's been watching along as well. Thank you, Cam McFarlane, for joining us. Thank you, Carwin, as ever. Top job, boys. We, folks, have been the Online Darts Fallout Bar. We will be back tomorrow. As I said earlier, make sure that you check out the YouTube channel for all of the full versions of the interviews you have seen, or the clips of the interviews you see on tonight's show. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much and good night.
Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championship.